Martin Kilcoyne on KTRS. Live and
we welcome Eli Yokley to the conversation, political reporter, roll call out of D.C., formerly a Missouri guy, now living on the East Coast. Eli, welcome. How you doing? Are you loving D.C.?
It's hot. I thought growing up in Missouri I knew what humidity was, and then I got out here in Washington, and I had a rude awakening. But things are going well out here. It's quiet. Congress is back home, and everybody's in their districts. So.
Yeah, people don't realize, my brother lives in D.C., and you go there, it's hotter than St. Louis, if that's possible, in the middle of the summer. Let's start with Hillary, because so much attention on the GOP and Donald Trump, and you forget there's another side to this race at some point that has to be discussed or sorted out. Is it overstating it to say that Hillary Clinton is in trouble right now?
Hillary Clinton is facing a lot of reaction, a lot of criticism. She's running as a general election candidate right now. She's pretending this primary doesn't exist, but the reality is, she's got a problem on her left. You see Bernie Sanders out drawing these massive crowds in the Northeast and the Northwest, and he's also coming in New Hampshire with a pretty good polling numbers. They're trending his way and making him more competitive there, and it's sort of his home turf. But if Hillary Clinton's getting close, if Bernie Sanders is getting close to Hillary Clinton, that's a problem. And some of these latest revelations about the emails and all of this just don't help. It takes her off of her message that she wants to be talking about out on the campaign trail.
Is there any way at this point, and now she said, hey, I've turned over my servers, I've given you everything I have, is there any way she can take this email, quote, scandal and kind of put it to rest so it doesn't haunt her for the next year plus? Is there any way to end it?
The problem is it just keeps growing. The way the State Department is doing this is not really helping Hillary Clinton. Every month they're putting out a new chunk of these emails, and there's more facts that come out. And then, her great friends at the CIA aren't helping her because she says that she has, wasn't sending out classified information. And after, as these emails have been ready to be released, the CIA has been classifying it. And so it's hard for her. Whenever she's in explaining mode right now, and the campaign sent out this 16-paragraph manifesto to her supporters the other day, just trying to comfort them and trying to explain to them some of the intricacies here. But in politics, when you're explaining it, the saying goes, when you're explaining, you're losing. And Hillary Clinton is doing a lot of explaining right now, whenever she could be out talking about income inequality or same-sex marriage, or some of these issues that really rile up the Democratic base, like Martin O'Malley and like Bernie Sanders are right now.
Where does it leave Joe Biden? Do you think, I know he's older, but apparently he's kicking the tires. Do you see him getting in this?
I don't know. I think Joe Biden likes. I think he likes the idea of it. I think he's been pretty clear about that. It sounds like the campaign is kind of poking around. It seems like what they're doing right now is trying to put some things in place if he were to run, although you probably would think that those would be in place already for the guy. But if things aren't looking good for Hillary, I think that maybe that's somebody who could come in late and be a spoiler. We're 63 days away today from the first Democratic debate. Voters don't go to the polls in New Hampshire for more than 5 months now, so we've got a little bit of time here for folks, for things to change up.
Now, be honest, Eli, as a political reporter, the dream matchup for the presidency has to be Donald Trump against Joe Biden, just from the entertainment, the comments, the quotes, the quips, the things being lobbed across the debate table.
Job
would that
security
not be
is what we call that. Yeah, it's job security.
That would be a classic, monumental showdown in terms of theatrics.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
You don't know what either one's going to say.
You don't. What's fascinating to me about Donald Trump, a lot of people like to write him off, but the reality is, if I go into McDonald's in Nevada, Missouri, where my grandpa and his friends meet at 8 o'clock every morning, I wouldn't necessarily hear a lot of things unlike what Donald Trump says. Or if I go to Scramblers in Springfield and see the old crowd there for breakfast, a lot of the stuff is stuff that they say around the table, or even like Booch's at lunch in Columbia. In a lot of ways, this guy's like an accidental populist. It's like the billionaire, but he also is talking like a lot of real people do. And I think that the attention to him is probably genuine, although, of course, he's really not. Donald Trump is not really building the political apparatus that a serious presidential candidate might. He's building a lot of media attention. He's rising in the polls. But people who write off Donald Trump, I think, forget that there is some sort of popular longing, I guess, and sort of the disdain for the political class that he's really tapped into. And I think Joe Biden, in a similar way, is able to do that too.
The accidental populist. I like that. You're right. It is a bit of irony where it's the billionaire, multi-billionaire, who is appealing to blue-collar America, middle America, with some of their frustrations. I've never been to Scramblers, but all I can say is after you rattled off all three, Eli, I've gotten extremely hungry here. Eli Yokley, political reporter. Obviously, he's got his Missouri roots. You can tell that from those references. What about the historical significance today in Cuba? Is that an election topic at all moving forward?
It's kind of been simmering on the back burner. It's popped up, and Marco Rubio has really talked about it. He's not a fan of the Cuba agreement. He's really made a pretty big deal about this. But the Obama administration is kind of pushing pretty hard on this. It's a big deal. The first time since the 50s and 60s, we've had trade relations with these guys, and it's one of those things that Obama has been talking about this, whether it be this or the Iran deal. The administration says you can't make peace with you don't make peace with your friends, you make it with your enemies, and it's probably one of those things that's imperfect. But from the Democrats' position, I mean, they think that it's good that we're finally talking to these guys. But this is one of those issues that's kind of come up between Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, especially being these Florida guys, where this is a big deal for them back home. But more broadly, I mean, it hasn't been a huge political issue, but I mean, frankly, a lot of the oxygen's been sucked out of the room by some of the sideshow issues.
Eli, tell folks about Roll Call and what you do there.
Oh, so I got out here about a month ago. Biggest political newsroom covering Capitol Hill. It had its 60th anniversary a few weeks ago, and if you look at the name of alumni at Roll Call, it reads off sort of like a who's who of people in Washington journalism right now. It's almost like a boot camp for me for the last month. I've had to learn a whole lot about a whole lot of states. They gave me Illinois and Missouri, so I get to try to expense a couple trips home, hopefully the next year and a half between now and Election Day. But I am learning a whole lot, and it's a blast. It's a great team covering Congress. It's almost like Congress's campus newspaper. You learn everything about Capitol Hill at Roll Call.
Well, good for you, and we appreciate you hopping on, and love the Missouri references as well. Eli Yokley, reporter for Roll Call, political reporter there in D.C. Somebody did text in, of course it's going to be hotter in Washington. All the politicians blowing hot air is directly affecting our atmosphere.
When they left, actually, it's been a pretty nice week this week, so maybe that guy's right.
There's something to it. Hey, Eli, thanks so much.
Yeah, hey, thanks, man. Good to be here.
Eli Yokley checking in with us here on KTRS. We'll come back, weekend updates.